All right. Hello everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to a live session today. If this is your first time joining, I do a little introduction. We check to see that we're all in the same time zone or timeline. I see the messages coming in. Hi. It's so lovely to have you here. So we just make sure that we're on the same time and then we get started together. We start with a 30-minute workout and then we'll do a Q&A session at the end. So you're welcome to stay, come and ask your questions from this class, from any of the other classes. You want to know what Pilates is all about? Here's where you can come and ask your questions and I will answer them for you live. Today we're going to be using a block. You can also use a ball, you can use a cushion, anything that just adds a little bit of height and a stability challenge. At any point, if it feels a bit too challenging for you, you can always take it away and then bring it in. It's also going to provide some support and awareness in some of the exercises. So that's also really nice, is how do you use that block to add a bit of support and challenge. So grab your block, your cushion or your ball and we will get started. I can see that we're all together. So let's begin in our warm-up. We're going to start by coming into all fours. You're going to take your block long ways. Slide it in, the inner thighs. Toes are together. You're lightly squeezing onto that block, but not too much. We're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to open the chest. And then exhale to round from hips to head. So beginning here, just to connect that breath with movement. And a moment for us all just to come together, get into that setup. Now, can you feel that as you call, there's this very light squeeze that happens from the inner thighs because we're lifting that pelvic floor. So it's going to feel like you're squeezing your block, but you're not. It's just that connection of inner thighs to pelvic floor. Let's go 2 more. And 1. Finishing off with stretching that chest. And come to a straight spine. We're going to twist it out. You're going to twist open to one side and then thread under as you press your hips back. So we have a slightly narrower knee than what we usually do because we have that block. So see how you can find that balance across both knees. Good. Let's take it over to the other side. We open and thread under. The gaze goes up to the ceiling as you stretch open the chest. And then as we thread under, you reach those hips back, stretching from head to hips. Do we still have the block? Let's go 1 more. And under. And come back through center. Just adjusting that block up if yours also dropped down. You're going to press into both of those hands. Hips and knees are stacked. Little lift through the core. We're going to hover the knees. And lower down. They'll exhale up, inhale down. And we're pressing into your big toes to float and lower the knees. Shoulders are slightly behind your wrist. You start to feel that connection to core and your inner thighs. So there's that light squeeze on the block here again. Your hips are staying behind your knees. We're going to go for 3. Lengthen from head to hips. Hold your hover on 1. We're going to take a little twist and center, twist and center, tapping 1 knee at a time to the mat. Feel how this movement comes from your waist. So you're still trying to keep those heels aligned as much as possible. And you're just tapping and lifting. 1 knee at a time. For 3. 2, lift up through the chest. 1 more each side. And lower those knees down. Press your hips back and find a stretch. Excellent. Maybe rocking your head side to side. And let's roll it up to seated. We are going to flip around. Good. Reaching that block forward between both hands. Let's take an exhale breath. We're going to roll it all the way down. Reach your block up over chest. And then we're going to roll it all the way back up to seated. Good. Using that block for alignment. You want to reach the block forward as you curl back. So feel how you can always use your block as your support. You can either go all the way down or pause halfway and roll back up. Your choice, depending on what feels good for you today. We're going to go 2 more. Pressing those heels into the mat and slightly pull them towards you as you roll up. Good, we're going to go 1 more. And all the way up. Good, we're going to roll it all the way back now. You're going to slide your feet in closer and take your block underneath one foot. All right, hands pressed down next to the side of your body. We're going to roll those hips up into bridge, tucking your hips, rolling your spine up and off the mat, one bone at a time. Hold for an inhale and gently roll it back down. So we're taking that exhale to curl up and down and pausing for an inhale at the top and bottom. Connecting with that alignment, check that your foot feels supported by the block. And as you lift your hips, although your feet are uneven, you're trying to get those hip bones even across each other. We pause at those shoulder blades. Let's take it up 1 more time. We hold. And we're going to lift that foot off the floor into tabletop position. Hold it there. You're going to extend and bend that leg. Flex to extend, point to bend. Pressing down into your foot on the block to lift up through that hip. And keeping your center, we're going to add on. Bend your knee, then lower your hips, lift and extend. We bend, lower, lift, squeezing through that glute. Feel that stability on the side. So last week we got a special request for glute work. So you're going to feel that coming in here today. 2. And 1. We're going to finish off by holding this hip up, extend the leg, straight leg lift and lower, flex to lower, point to lift. Inhale down, exhale up. We want to feel that the shoulder blades are pressing into the ground for support. And try to make sure that we're not swaying through this knee, so we're keeping the side stable. We're going to go for 2. Can you lift a little higher for 1? Bring this leg up, deep breath in, gently curl it down. Good, let's lower this foot to the ground, figure 4 stretch, hold it there for a moment. Just regathering the breath. You can extend this leg down, twist across, find a stretch. Amazing. And then let's slide that block over to the other side. So you want to find that block, slide it across to your other foot. Let's take a moment here to get into that setup. Find your center, pressing down into the hands. Let's take it up into our curling bridge. We lift and hold and gently curl down. Use these curls to check in with your alignment and the support of the block on the floor. And as you're curling up and down, try to feel equal pressure across both sides of your back. So you're really trying to deeply connect with that curl. Maybe you feel a bit of a massage. And can you think of pressing your shoulder blades down as you tuck your hips up? Let's go 2 more. Finding alignment across those hips. 1 more, we lift, we hold. We're going to take this leg, we're going to lift. Hold it there, extend and bend. Good. Finding that alignment, lifting through this bottom hip. We're going to add on, lowering that hip down. We bend, lower, and lift. Extend. You want to keep that rib cage hugging in. Feel that connection of wrapping your rib cage in and shoulder blades down. That's going to allow us to connect a little bit more with hamstrings and glutes. Let's go 2. And 1 more. We're going to hold it, extend the leg, straight leg, lift and lower. You can always bring your hands to your hips, which will allow you to find that lift through your glute, up into your hips, and keeping them steady for 3 more. And 2. Last one. Lift. Slowly roll it down. Lower this foot. Whew. Spicy glute work right there. Just give it a second to stretch. Lower this leg down and let's twist it across, finding a deeper stretch along the side of the back. Maybe you get a nice click like I did. Always good. All right, let's bring it back through center. You're just going to move your block off to the side, stretching through both of those legs, reaching up through the arms. Let's take a couple of roll-ups. We're going to lift up through the side, through the back, and roll it all the way forward. Dive it forward. Soften through the knees. Find a stretch for the hamstrings. And let's roll it all the way up. Good, we're going to grab onto your block. You're going to place it behind your lower back, bringing in those legs. We're sitting slightly off the block. We're lifting up through the crown. You're going to take an exhale breath. We're going to round it back, touching those hip bones to the block, and then rolling it all the way back up. Good, so now we're starting to get that C shape, curling it back, drawing your core in towards the block. Maybe shuffling it forward, finding a bit more of a challenge. As you curl back, feel that you're still staying open in the chest, so you're not collapsing, you're still gazing up, you're broadening the collarbones, kind of playing around with that deep core connection, belly button to chest. We'll go 2 more, and lift, and 1. And lift it up. Brilliant. We're going to take those hands. You're going to bring yourself to seated on that block now. So we were practicing. We're going to take that connection and we're going to deepen it. So this comes from our box work on the reformer. So if you do reformer, this will feel familiar to you. You want to feel that you press your heel into the mat, which is going to help you find that grip. You try not to go too far back. You want to play around, find that sweet spot where you get a bit of challenge in the core. Let's go 1 more. We're going to hold it to the back. Lift and lower the arms. Press your heels into the ground as you reach up through the fingers. Pull yourself into that deep C. Can you feel how as your arms lift, you want to deepen that connection to your core? Last 2. Can you go a little deeper for one more? Bring the arms forward and curl up all the way to the toes. Nice work. Excellent. We're going to straighten through those legs. Soften the knees if you need to lengthen through your spine. And we're going to take it to a spine stretch. We go forward from the head, down towards the mat. Hold. And then roll it up from your hips to your head. Shoulders are relaxed on your back. You pull your core back as you reach forward through your fingers. You may notice that by sitting on the block, you're going to get a deeper stretch through the hamstrings. So now you're starting to feel how we're using that block to add challenge, but also support. Good, let's go 2 more. Reaching your hips and lower back to the wall behind you. 1 more. And all the way up. Brilliant. Release those arms down. Let's flip it around into a sides position. You're going to be up on the block today. You're going to be down on that forearm, elbow directly underneath your wrist. And you're finding that stretch up and away from the bottom rib cage. We're going to start by lifting and lowering this leg. So you're going straight up and down. Point to lift, flex to lower. Now I've got this knee bent here for support. If you want to challenge yourself, you're going to straighten through this leg. Can we feel that as we lift and lower this leg, we try not to drop here, really using that block to lift you up. Good. How are we doing? Can we lift just an inch higher? Feel the side of that glute. And 2. And 1. Hold it there. You're going to take this toe down just in front of your foot and then squeeze to lift up. We go forward and a little bit of a diagonal pull. You don't want to pull the leg so far back that you're leaning forward because then you're going to lose that glute connection. So we're keeping this lift through the side of the waist and we're squeezing right there. Last 2. Good. And 1. Squeeze and hold. Tiny little lift. Good. Feel that you're drawing your heel up into the wall behind you. Lift up and out of your bottom shoulder for 2. For 1. Release it down and bring that foot in. Get that stretch there. We're going to shift over into the obliques. We're pressing into this front foot as well as this back foot. Keeping the chest forward. We're going to start to lift this hip up, up, up to the ceiling. Finding this connection. And then lowering down. Ribs come towards our hips. Squeeze and hold. Bring your hips down. Good. So we want to feel that we don't use our shoulder. We're really finding that hammock through our waist as we lower. And then thinking rib to hip as we lift. Can we go for 3? Finding that oblique. 2 more. Good. And 1. Lower the hip down and then press yourself up into a Z. Sit. We'll come off the block. We hold it there. We're coming over into the side stretch. Out of the shoulder. Twist it around to the opposite knee. Good. Let's stretch out through this glute. So we're taking this leg across. We're grabbing onto it and giving yourself a nice deep twist. Sitting up tall. Good. Let's release it. Let's take it over to the other side. So we're coming up onto the block. Have a little side seat there. Setting up this elbow directly underneath the shoulder and lifting up through the side of the waist. We're straightening through this top leg. Let's start with lifting and lowering. Point to lift, flex to lower. pulling this rib cage and core connection back. And dropping through your head a little bit. If you find that your neck is getting tense, you can always gaze down at your forearm. We want to focus on that emphasis going up and down and stretching up and out of your hip. Let's go 2 and 1. If you're joining me for the challenge, bringing that leg slightly forward, we take the leg forward, squeeze back to lift. We want to think of pulling that core and rib cage back as well as your leg lifts. Can you feel that squeeze into the side of your glute, finding that deep connection, maybe into the crease? Last 3, 2. Can you stretch out through your head all the way to your heel? 1 more, hold it there. Tiny little lifts with control. It's less of a pulse and more of just an accent up. Squeeze. Good. 2 and 1. Release it down. Well done. Let's bring that leg in. We're pressing into this front foot, coming up and out of the shoulders. Super important. Then we're going to lift this top hip up towards the ceiling and hammock yourself down. So we're using that block. We're just using it to tap and lift the hip. So it's a light little tap and lift. Can we think of pressing through this front foot a little bit more, pressing it away from you, down into the ground as you lift up through the hip, finding this lovely connection at the core and the waist. For 2 and 1 and lower down, release and come to seated. Did anyone else feel that sneaky glute there with that foot at the back? I could feel it there towards the end. Let's stretch out through the shoulder, lifting up and out of the waist. Should feel really good after that strength work. Let's twist. Let's open it, releasing through the glute. We're going to twist it around, grab onto it. Give yourself a nice twist. Squeeze that knee in towards your chest. Lengthen up through the spine. Open the chest a little bit more. Good. And then let's flip around. Right, we're going to come into some 4-point work. You're going to take the block underneath the knee of the one that's furthest from me, hands underneath your shoulders. And we're going to start by lifting and lowering this knee on the mat. We're going to pull the knee up and tap it down. What you want to feel is that your body weight isn't shifting around. You're pulling up through your lower abs to hover this knee. Basically, we're just bringing those hip bones in alignment. For 2 and 1. Set those hips in alignment. Keep them there. Then bring this knee out to the side. Bring it in and stretch it back. We go in, out, in, and extend back. Bringing awareness to everything staying still, only the leg is moving. Lots of core. And then the glute is stabilizing you here at the bottom. Little squeeze into the crease of the glute as you stretch back. Good, last 2. And 1. Stretch that leg back. We're going to add a tricep press as we take this knee across to the other side. And then straighten out as you lift. We squeeze and twist. Extend as you lift. You're going to feel this lovely glute stretch as you twist. Lowering and tapping your elbows down for a little bit of a tricep activation. Let's go to stretching from your heel to your head. We go 1 and hold. Dive your chest forward and lift. Tricep press. And you can always go backwards if you want more support. Let's go 2 and 1. Good. Lower it down and press your hips back to a child's pose. Bring it all the way up, taking the block across to the other side. I'm just going to stay facing this way so that you can see both sides of the body. Hands underneath the shoulders again. Knees are aligned. Let's lift and lower this knee. And down. You're pressing into all 10 toes. You're pulling this knee up. We want to feel that connection to the core and alignment across the hips. We're going to go for 2 and 1. You're going to hold it up and you're going to take the leg out to the side. Bring it in. Extend. We want to feel that our chest stays the same distance away from the mat. That way we know we're keeping that core engaged. We're not moving around that spine. We're squeezing into the crease of the glutes as we extend back. Pressing into your pinky fingers, feel that lift up through the shoulders. Let's go 1 more. Extend it back, hold it there. Then you take this knee across, lowering down to the elbows, lift and extend. You still want those elbows to be directly underneath your shoulders. So you're twisting through the lower body and keeping that alignment from the waist up. Lengthening from head to heel. We're going to go 1 more. We're going to hold it there. We're going to dive forward for our tricep press and lift. Option to go down to the elbows, shifting backwards a little bit. Use the support of that block. Last 2. Good. 1 more. And up. Brilliant. Press yourself back. Find a stretch here for this glute. Well done. Righty, we're going to take the block underneath the head, coming into the prone work. So it's going to be underneath your forehead. Your gaze is down. And you're going to lengthen your arms down next to the side of your body. We're going to start to float your head away from the ground, lifting up through the chest. Hold. And then lower with control. So we take an inhale breath as we lift and an exhale as we lower. Good. Keeping that gaze slightly down towards the mat or towards your block. Hopefully my zipper is not making too much noise on the microphone. Also feel that you're lifting your belly button up off the mat to keep that core engaged. Activating through the mid-back. Let's go 1 more. Good, hold it there. We're going to float the legs away from the ground. Start to kick them very gently. Forehead resting on the block. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 5. Reach through your fingers, spiral open through your chest. If it feels good, start to float your head away from the block. Keep your gaze down to the mat. Keep your breath going for in 5, out 5. Lengthen through your head a little bit more, open through your chest. 2 more counts of breath. Lengthen a little bit more, lift a little higher, final breath. Lower it down, tuck your toes. And let's press it all the way back, finding a stretch. Maybe looking left and right with that head, releasing the neck. Let's bring it forward to 4-point. Let's open up through that chest. Exhale to round, slowing down that heart rate. Checking in from the start of class. Releasing through the neck and shoulders. One more. And then we'll press it back into our rest position, taking a final few breaths there, lengthening those exhales. One more. And rolling it all the way up. Well done. Thank you so much for joining me for today's session, working through the glutes. Definitely got a little bit of back in there as well towards the end. I hope that this felt good for you today. If there was any questions that came up for you, please do stay, ask your questions. I'm here to help you and support you as you get stronger. So any questions are welcome. We do this every week. So if this is your first session, thank you for joining me for the first time. We do this every week. You can go to the channel. All of these sessions are scheduled in. You just click notify me, and we do this every single week, full body, 30 minutes. So come and join us. If you are leaving, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next week. Right, let's have a check-in. How are we feeling today? How did we find the work with the block? I'm actually going to sit on my block. How did we find using the block? I know recently I posted a class using a block, and so many of you loved that connection. So I thought, let's bring it to a live class so that you have an opportunity to also like chat and ask questions. So here we are. How are we doing? I really enjoyed that. I don't know if you could tell, but I really enjoyed that. Also, if I'm looking down, I have the screen here with the comments, and then I'll just look up there to respond. Feels good. Amazing. I'm so happy. Any inversions today? No inversions today. We will definitely bring that in next week. All right. Phew. Lucy, I love that so much. That was amazing. Just what I needed after my run on Saturday. Oh, fantastic. Congratulations for your run on Saturday. I hope that the run went well, and I hope that the Pilates is supporting you to feel stronger in your runs as well. So I'm curious to know, how far did you run and how did your run go? Who let the dogs? Who let the dogs out? I love that so much. I'm assuming that what you mean is it was a very challenging class today, and you feel like the dogs were let out, and that was a wild class. So thank you for that. That made me laugh. That was amazing. Good. My glutes are going to be beach ready after that. Exactly. Lots of glute work today. Getting in there, finding that lift always feels so good, especially finding that crease. You know what? We're not here for, changing our bodies, but it does always feel amazing when we can get into those muscles and feel it working, and just feel everything kind of come together. So I'm so glad that you felt that. And I know that you're in summer at the moment. No, you're in winter at the moment. You're up north, so you're in the winter. So we're getting your glutes nice and strong for the summers. Hi, have a really nice voice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Aries. That was very kind of you. I did not have a block, but I used up a rolled up towel. Amazing. I love that. I didn't even think of that. So now we know we can use a ball, we can use a cushion, or we can use a rolled up towel. I'm really impressed that you took the initiative and you thought of, what can I use to give me that little boost, that little height. So well done. Thank you so much, Lucy, for the kind gift. That was I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it when you guys support this. I do this completely free on YouTube because I want to make Pilates accessible to the community. So I always appreciate it when you guys do support the channel in this way by adding the super thanks. Also, because I don't add ads, I want to keep this space ad free because I know how annoying ads are. So I really appreciate that generous gift of yours. It was the dogs barking in the background. Oh, wow. Okay. We have dogs at our neighbors. I didn't actually hear them. Sometimes they can be quite chatty. I think Lucy meant there were dogs barking. Yes. Because now we've established the dogs barking. I should probably try see if I can find a way to keep a little bit of that noise out. So thank you for letting me know. But it's just a reminder that when there's things happening around us, we can just like zone in and tune in to our mind and like reconnect with ourselves, because there's always going to be things happening around us. So that's good. You probably timed them out. I'm not sure what that means. I can see there's a couple of new people here today, so please say hi. Let me know where you're joining from. And if you have any questions about the live classes, any of the exercises that we did, then I can give you that feedback. Maybe you're feeling something's happening in the lower back, the glutes, the hips, let me know. And that helps me plan the classes for the upcoming weeks. I know last week we had a special request for glutes, which we brought in today. And it's good to hear that you all felt that glute connection. So yeah, just let me know if you have any more questions. I'll be here for a few more minutes and then I will have this up for replay. I see that 83% of you joined today and 17% of you will be joining for the replay, which is amazing to see. Okay, I think that's all the questions for today. If anyone hasn't seen, if you are sick recently, you know someone that is sick, I hope you don't get sick, but anyone who's kind of recovering from being sick, I noticed that a lot of my clients and the community were feeling sick. So I made a special class for that, and you can find that on the channel. So I thought I'd just share that here in case you haven't seen it. There is a class specifically for your sick days on the channel, because I think it's important that even when we are feeling sick, how do we move our bodies in a nourishing way to get ourselves moving, get out of the bed, kind of get out of that stiffness. And I think that's really important, is moving even when we're sick, not challenging the body too much, but just kind of getting that tension out of the body. This was very good. Thank you, Aries. I'm really glad to hear that this class felt good for you. That always makes my heart so happy. I always want to bring you good, feel good classes. So hearing your feedback is amazing. So thank you for that. I hope that you all have an amazing day. Thank you for the chats and the comments and the questions and the lovely gift, Lucy. I really appreciate it. I will see you all next week again. Bye.